Hiya, welcome. Today we are going to be doing long division using the DMS method. We're going to be dividing 3-digit numbers by 2-digit numbers and 4-digit numbers by 2-digit numbers. DMS, or DMSB as some people call it, stands for dividing, multiplying, subtracting, and then the B is bringing down. If we look at the first example, a 924 divided by 22, the first thing to do is write down 924, and we write this inside the lines here. This number is called our dividend, okay? It's the number that we are dividing up, so dividend. Then we take our 22, which is our 2-digit number, of course, and we write that to the left outside of the lines, and this is our divisor. Okay, this is the number that we are dividing up by. The first thing to do is take our 9 and divide it by 22. Now, we can't divide 9 by 22 because 22 doesn't go into 9 because it's bigger. So we would write a 0 up at the top and carry the 9 across. Okay, so we have 92 now. I'm going to get rid of that 9 there just to make it a little bit neater, but remember that we are dividing 92 now by 22. If you struggle to do it in your head, then you can simply count up in 22s. 22, 44, 66, 88, 110, etc. We want to know how many 22s go into 92, and you should be able to see here that 4 22s go into 92, because if we had 5 then we would get 110, which is bigger. So 4 22s go into 92, and so we write the 4 above here like that. That is the division part of the DMS done. The next step is to multiply. 4 multiplied by 22 gives us 88. So we divide this number here that we've just written by our divisor that we wrote at the start. 4 multiplied by 22 is 88, and we write that just underneath the 92 there. That is the M part of DMS done. The final thing is to subtract those two numbers. 92 take away 88 leaves us with 4, and that is the S part done. Finally, we need to B, which is bring down the last digit, which is 4, and we write that just underneath. I'll use an arrow just to make it clear. And once you've finished all those steps, you just go back and do them all again until you've finished with the number. So we take 44 and we divide this by our divisor, again up here. 44 divided by 22 is 2. We wrote it over here, didn't we? 22 and then 44. So that is 2. And we are done. So 924 divided by 22 gives us an answer of 42. And the 42 is often called the quotient. I'll write that out. And the quotient just shows you how big the groups are. Okay, so that is our answer, 42. Dividing a 4-digit number by a 2-digit number follows the exact same principle. So we have 4,338, which we're dividing by 18. The first step is 4 divided by 18, which we won't be able to do, so we carry the 4 to give us 43. 43 divided by 18. To do that, I think it helps to firstly count up in 18s. 18, 36, 54, 72, 90, etc. We can see from this that there are 2 18s in 43. If there were 3 18s, we would get 54, which is too large. So I'm going to write 2 up here. We don't worry about any remainders that we would get. That's the D of DMS finished. So now we need to multiply. So 2 multiplied by the 18 gives us 36, which we write underneath. The next step is to subtract those numbers. 43 subtract 36 gives us an answer of 7. Then we finally need to bring down. We only bring down one digit, the next one along, which is the 3, to give us 73. We then repeat all the steps starting with division, but we need to use our new number, 73. 73 divided by 18 is going to be 4. As we saw before, 4 18s are 72, so we're not going to be able to fit another one in to make it 5, as that would bring it to 90, which is too large. We then need to multiply that 4 again by the 18, which is going to give us 72, and then we need to subtract those numbers, which will of course give us 1. Finally, b, which is bring down, we need to bring the 8 down to make 18, and then we divide those two numbers. 18 divided by 18 is of course 1, and then you can multiply that 1 by the 18 again, following the same steps, subtracting them. 18 minus 18 is 0, which means there is no remainder, so 4,338 divided by 18 gives us an answer of 241. Let's now try some example questions to put this into practice a bit more. Here are some example questions. I recommend pausing the video, having a go, and then coming back and playing it when you're ready to go through them. Okay, welcome back if you did try them. The first question in the top left says 655 divided by 41. The first step is to do 6 divided by 41, which will give us 0, and we'll carry the 6. Then we need to do 65 divided by 41. Now, I'm going to count up in 41s. You might be able to do it in your head, but counting up will help us for the next part of the question. 164, and you can keep going, but I'm going to leave it there for now. You should be able to see then that we have 141 in 65, as if we had 2, that would take us up to 82, which is too high. So I'm going to put a 1 up there. We then need to multiply 1 by 41 to give us 41. And then we subtract the 65 and the 41 to give us 24. We then need to bring down the 5 to give us 245. Now, to divide 245 by 41, because remember we're restarting the DMSB, we brought down and now we're dividing again. So to do 245 divided by 41, you can continue to add up, or you can use another method which helps for particularly bigger numbers, which I think can save a little bit of time. First of all, I would estimate what the answer would be. I would say if 4 41s were 164, we might have, for example, 6 41s in 245. So I'm going to try doing that and seeing what I get. So 41 multiplied by 6. You can use any method you want. I'm going to use the column method. 6 multiplied by 1 is 6, and 4 multiplied by 6 is 24. And that gives us 246. Now that's 1 higher than we need, which means that there are 5 41s in 245. I'm going to then write 5 above there and do the same thing. 5 multiplied by 41, that gives us 205. So you can continue to add up and you would have found these answers, but I just wanted to show you another method that you can use as well. Now we've multiplied, we then need to subtract. 245 minus 205, it gives us 40, which is our remainder. So our answer is 15, remainder 40. Alright, I hope that was okay. Let's have a look at the next question. Question 2 asks us to find the answer to 3,289 divided by 35. First step here is to divide 3 by 35, which is 0, and then we carry the 3 to give 32. 32 divided by 35, again we can't do. 35 is greater than 32, so we pop a 0 up at the top and carry the 32 to give us 328 divided by 35. Now, that sum is quite difficult to do in your head, so we're going to use the same method that we used in the first question, which is to estimate the answer. Now, hopefully you should be familiar with the fact that if you multiply a number by 10, all you need to do is add a 0 onto the end of that number. So 35 multiplied by 10 gives us 350. Now, using this, we can see that that is slightly bigger than our target answer of 328. So if we subtract 35 from that answer, we get 315. And that is, of course, 35 multiplied by 9, because we found 35 multiplied by 10 and took off 35. So 315 is the answer to 35 times 9, and 9 will be our answer here, because 350 is too large. We want 328, and 315 is the highest number in the 35 times tables that will go into 328. So 9 is our answer there. Then we multiply down by this number, if you remember the M of DMS. 9 times 35 we just did is 315. And then we subtract those numbers. 328 minus 315 is 13. And then we bring down the 9 to give us 139. Now here we need to do 139 divided by 35. And in this case, it's best to count up. So I'm going to do 35, and I'm going to keep adding 35, which will give me 70, 105, 140, etc. And I can see here that there are 3 35s which will go into 139, because if I had 4, I would get 140, which is 1 too large. So there are 3 35s in that number. We multiply then by our 3. 3 multiplied by 35 is 105. We'll pop that there. We subtract these numbers, which gives us 34. And we have nothing else to bring down, which means 34 is our remainder. So your answer is 93, remainder 34. Question 3 asks us to divide 549 by 19, writing our remainder as a fraction. The first step is 5 divided by 19, so 0, and then we carry the 5 to give us 54. 54 divided by 19, you might be able to do in your head. If not, you can count up in 19s. 57, 76, etc. You should be able to see here then that there are 2 19s in 54, because if you had 3 19s, you'd get 57, which is too large. So I'm going to put a 2 up here, and then I'm going to multiply 2 by 19 to give 38, and then I'm going to subtract those numbers. So remember, we've done the D and the M, we're now on S, which is to subtract, which gives us 16. We then want to bring down our 9 to give 169. Now we're back to step 1 after this, which is division again. So we do 169 divided by 19. Now that's quite tricky to do in your head, so what I would do is estimate our answer like we did in questions 1 and 2, and to do that I am going to multiply 19 by 10, okay, and that will give me 190, which is fairly close to 169. Now to get closer to this number here, we are going to subtract 19. Okay, so essentially we're finding 19 multiplied by 9. Okay, and that is going to be 171, which is still slightly too big. We need 169, or we need a number in the 19 times tables which will go into 169. Okay, so 171 is too big, so let's take off another 19 then, and that will give us 152. Which of course is 19 multiplied by 8. Okay, now 152, that is the largest number in the 19 times tables, which goes into 169. So our answer there is 8, and then we multiply the 8 by 19, which we just did, which is 152, and then we subtract those numbers there. 169 minus 152 is 17, and there's nothing left to bring down, so that is our remainder. 28 remainder 17 is our answer. However, we're not done, because we need to write this remainder as a fraction. So our final answer will be 28, your whole number there, and then the top of the fraction will have 17 over 19. Okay, so the remainder is always at the top, and the bottom of the fraction, the denominator, always has your divisor, the number that you are dividing by. So 17 over 19 is writing the remainder as a fraction. Okay, I hope you found that fine. Let's move on to question 4. Question 4 says divide 7,824 by 70, writing our remainder as a fraction. The first step, 7 divided by 70, we're going to put 0 and we're going to carry the 7 to give 78. 78 divided by 70 is 1, and we'll multiply the 1 by 70 to give 70. Then we'll subtract the 70 from 78 to give 8, and we'll bring down the 2 to give 82. Remember, don't bring down the 2 and the 4, just bring down the next number, which in this case is the 2. Then we need to divide 82 by 70, which is 1 again, and we'll multiply the 1 by 70 to again give us 70. Then we'll subtract 82 minus 70 gives us 12, and then this time we'll bring down the 4 to give 124. We need to do 124 now, divide by the 70, which is again going to be 1. Remember, the number would have to be larger than 140 for there to be two 70s going into it. 124 is smaller, so there's only 1. Then we need to multiply the 1 again by 70, which, as you might have guessed, is 70. And then we take these numbers away. 124 minus 70 is 54. And there's nothing else to bring down, so that is our remainder. So we have 111 remainder 54, which we can write like this. 111 54 over 70. Okay, hopefully that was alright. If you want to practice more of these questions, then please go to my website where I'll have worksheets and examples that you can have a look at. Thanks very much. Bye bye.